Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today, finally, in the box and under the camera, we have the Patek Philippe Cubitus, launched in October of 2024. This was the most talked about watch of the fall season, and this is a timepiece that is misunderstood. I'm going to get to that in a moment, but let's talk about the dimensions, which are kind of key to that misunderstanding. In stainless steel, the reference 5821/1A-001 is 45 millimeters in diameter if you measure it diagonally. If you measure it across from side to side, not including the crown, it measures a considerably smaller 43.7. So it's actually 45.3 if you measure it diagonally. Conventionally, from side to side, 9 to 3, it's actually 43.7, and I can tell you it wears almost like a 41. It's only 8.6 millimeters thick, and if you measure it lug to lug, then the case itself is only 44.8 millimeters across. And if we measure end link to end link, one link on each side, the total horizontal distance across the wrist is only 48.6. So if Patek hadn't told me this is a 45, I would have guessed somewhere around a 41. Taking it and throwing it on the wrist, you can see it doesn't wear like a 45. Look how much clearance I have on each side. The lugs are nowhere near the edge of my wrist. Even over the top, which exaggerates the width of the watch, it's still nowhere near the edge of my wrist. So I would even recommend this for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. There is a smaller version of this watch now. I don't think you're going to need it. And the timepiece is flat. I mean, you can see with a sloped flank, only 8.6 millimeters thick, it's going to slide easily under a cuff. It is nicely made and beautifully decorated, and in terms of the complexity of its decoration and the case assembly, it's definitely aligned with the Nautilus more than the Aquanaut. The Aquanaut is simplified to reduce price and increase accessibility. This has the same degree of fine bevels, polish breaking with satin, the three-piece case design, the locking wings that help to establish the water resistance, the beveling of the bracelet down the links, little things like the flanking bevels, and there's actually quite a bit of refinement in this clasp. We'll talk about that in a second. But the decoration externally is outstanding, and this bracelet feels exactly like that on the 5811 and the 5711. It's not a big brute of a thing like the 5990 and 5726 bracelets. It's very supple. We can see removable links here. They're fixed by pins and sleeves. That's just Patek's way these days. They are correct in that you can't strip out a pin sleeve system, but some would still like to see screws fixing these removable links. Fortunately, Patek has a lot of value to offer you in exchange for that compromise. First, you could see that we have two different link sizes. So if you do find yourself in between sizes, you've got the intermediate link here. Now, the old Nautilus clasps used to use clamshell locks, which were kind of cheap and outdated. Here we have a twin trigger system and a beautiful polished internal featuring little fragments of the Calatrava cross that is the logo of the manufacturer. We also have these little push button sliders that allow you to move in and out by a small margin. It's a micro adjustment system that's intuitive, easy to use, and extremely friendly to the wrist. So you have a lot of sizing options between two different link sizes and those two individual micro adjustments. Rolling around to the case now, of course, Patek Philippe quotes everything as being 30 meters water resistant, but this is constructed exactly like the old 5711, which was rated at 120 meters, and it beggars belief to think that this is 30 meters, and so is a push-down crown snap case back Calatrava. They may both be rated to 30, but I think this one has more of a safety margin. No hesitation whatsoever about swimming with this watch. Like I said, it's built like Patek's old 120-meter cases. The detailing is excellent. As you can see, it borrows primarily from the design language and the construction methodology of the Nautilus, so none of this should be unfamiliar. Now, the Cubitus element, it's clearly not a cube, but it does have sort of a rectangular aesthetic to it. So in spite of the multiplicity of facets that makes this quite a bit different than a square or a rectangle, nevertheless, it is well done. The outer bezel, the inner bezel, the crystal, and the dial all match the same form factor, which is nice. That's one refinement it's always had as the Nautilus and later as the Cubitus over something like a Royal Oak, which has a faceted bezel, but then it's round on the inside. This is a holistic design fully realized. The dial has the striations laterally like a Nautilus with the metallic green sunburst, white gold hands, date frame, and indices. We'll do a loom shot right now. Take a look at that. Very easy to read, no issues there. Of course, this uses Patek Philippe's latest automatic 26330 SC, which means we have a true hacking second system for those who wish to set their watch to the reference time. And then you have a quick set system for the date, just like that. Rolling around to the case back, we have a Cubitus exclusive rotor. You can see it features a little bit of a striated design, a combination of beveling, engine turning, and then those stripes with the Calatrava cross. We have stripes on the bridges, engine turning on the base plate, as well as on the center of the rotor. It's a unidirectional winder with ceramic bearings for maximum efficiency. It's got a power reserve of up to 45 hours, a 4 Hertz beat rate, 30 joules, 6 position adjusted with a free-sprung Gyromax style balance, beating away at 4 Hertz, and Patek Philippe's latest Spiromax anti-magnetic silicon hairspring. So the Gyromax system uses eccentric masses on the balance to allow for very precise adjustment to a timing tolerance guaranteed to be no worse than -1 + 2 seconds per 24 hours. The Gyromax system is also a Patek Philippe heritage element dating back to the 1950s, and it makes the balance more resistant to shock-induced timing deviation. The Spiromax hairspring, now several generations in from the original, is both highly anti-magnetic and, due to its unique profiling under deep reactive ion etching, able to breathe concentrically like an overcoil, so consistent timing in any physical position relative to gravity, while still being thin and flat the way a flat hairspring is. So there's actually quite a bit to love about the Cubitus. The biggest factor that I think you need to take into account if you've never held one or seen one is that you need to think of it as a 41 millimeter. After that, realize that the feel of the bracelet, the decoration, everything is up to the standard of the 5711 and the later 5811. Patek Philippe felt the need to supplement the Nautilus collection with the Cubitus, and in a lot of ways this watch takes the place of the old steel 5711s and the 3700 before that. So if you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.